Hello, everybody. My name is D'Angelo Jetson. For those who don't know me, I'm going to be giving a lot of information today in regards to the community, the LGBT community and HIV community here in Houston, Texas. Do not take any of this information, my personal experiences, as professional help. If you are depressed or going through anything mentally, I do recommend you getting professional help from a therapist or finding the right support group. I got into this field around 2015. At the end of 2015, after I lost my second child to a tubal pregnancy, we went into St. Hope, where we did blood work follow up to see how everything was going after the tubal pregnancy, and my wife told me that St. Hope offered several services as far as dental vision, HIV services. They had a pharmacy on site, so my case manager there on site um, was transitioning to another position, and pretty much I can say it now, tweaked my resume for me to be able to get into the field. Never would I have known it would have been my calling as far as the work I do now. So that was definitely a great benefit, and I do appreciate him, and I will always recognize him for doing that because it made me who I am today. So while I was offered the job, it was like I had been working there for years. I had a true passion for helping others, so I definitely was able to walk into my calling. My main goal here is to motivate others to live, just live free, just motivate others to be themselves and to tell my story and pretty much hope to inspire others to do the same. And advocating for equal rights, LGBT, whether someone is also disclosing their status, you always risk your life. Everybody's not on the same page as you mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. So a lot of times people do get upset about people just being themselves. And before creating the channel, I definitely want to have a conversation with my family about this. But it's been 10 years today, on May 18, 2019, that I have been HIV positive. And my reason for not telling my family is because at the end of the day, I'm not laying with anybody in my family. I had to do what's best for me, and I had to protect myself. As far as me being HIV positive, my wife and my children are negative, so they're definitely healthy. And when you're talking about HIV/AIDS, negative is a thing that you do want to hear. So that means they're good. I've been positive, like I said, today will make 10 years. So a lot of people have different addictions. So I can definitely say that you can say I had a sex addiction. So most people may have crack cocaine, marijuana. Sex was my thing. So when I was 20 years old, I got into my first relationship with the guy. My first boyfriend at the time had been stepping out. So instead of me using protection or communicating with him to get tested. When I knew he was stepping out, I did the same. So when he went to get tested. I don't know. I think we was in the middle of a fight or something was going on, and he told me to get tested for syphilis. So when I went into my primary care doctor, she told me that she would test me for everything because you never know what people are doing when they are stepping out. So I came back in 2 weeks. And I remember a week before, I drove myself to the hospital twice because I had really bad pain in my left side because of whatever reason. So when I got my results, it was because my syphilis test came back positive as well as my HIV. So the only reason I knew something was wrong because of the STD, my body was fighting the syphilis and HIV at the same time. I had a really bad pain on my left side, and they said it was from a high liver count, as if I was an alcoholic, but I wasn't really drinking at the time, so that definitely triggered something on my lab results. And my main thing, I did not cry. I wanted to go to work. I had to go to work. At that time, I was working at Office Depot, and that's just what it was. I was like, well, girl, I got to go to work. Let me know what medication I got to get on. We'll be okay. I'm good. I'm educated about this. let's just move on to what I need to do. So went into work. I couldn't drive literally over 3 to 5 minutes without being in pain. I couldn't lift any reams of paper. I couldn't lift any office chairs. But I had to tell my job I would have to take time off. But it happened a lot faster than what I anticipated. My doctor called my mother and told her that I was sick. I don't know why she did that because I was definitely of age to where she should not have disclosed my status. So I went home, and my job kept calling me, and even though it would have been confidentiality, they wouldn't be able to discuss my status with anybody. I couldn't face that job. I immediately stopped working. So when I got home, my mother was on the floor crying, and I don't know. I think it was just an initial reaction. She said, that's the lifestyle that you're living. I told you so. And that was the experience with LGBT or gay men or whatever it may be. But I think at that time, I just needed to hear from somebody that it'll be okay. We'll get through this. I made calls to 3 or 4 people before going into work, and nobody answered their phone, so it was probably for the best. I just wanted my mother to just give me a shoulder to lean on, not necessarily cry because I wasn't really emotional about it. I knew my behaviors and I trusted somebody else with my body. And you can't really blame somebody else. You can blame them for not you not being able to trust them or them not being trustworthy, but you definitely can't fault somebody else because it takes two. You trust somebody else with your body, and only you can protect yourself. And I haven't really dated anybody positive to my knowledge. Whenever I date somebody, I do discuss my status right off the bat. I'm not opposed to dating anybody positive, but it just haven't worked like that for me yet. Um, Nobody in my family has been to any doctor's appointments. Nobody I've dated been to any doctor's appointments with me. And not even in my marriage, I was comfortable enough to discuss details about my status or my blood work because there was still shame in me within all these years because there's still a heavy stigma attached to HIV. So the biggest risk I would tell anybody is to not know. You definitely want to make sure that you get tested every 3 to 6 months if you having more than one partner that's unprotected. But let's say you have one partner, I would say at least get a routine check. If you're in a monogamous relationship, at least once a year. It just depends on the relationship. And as far as disclosing your status, that's solely up to you. Like I said before, if you're not laying down with that person, you're not sexually active with that person, there's really no need. And sometimes people that you think will react better oftentimes act worse, and the people that you thought would be dramatic about it will be more understanding. So within me disclosing my status, I tell people right off the bat, right now I'm separated. I have 2 kids. I'm positive, but it's up to that person to make a conscious decision to be with you, and you guys communicate that way. Um, as far as I don't know, whenever you're meeting with somebody, hooking up with somebody, use protection. If not, just have that conversation. And a lot of times in the LGBT community, or when I talk to guys or are sexually active with a guy, many times they say me too. Like you will be surprised at how many people are positive but afraid to just have that conversation because of shaming or just maybe being embarrassed. But that's the main thing. Just have the conversation, break the ice, and move from there. It's better to you to get it out of the way in the beginning. I'd rather you be hurt the first day, first week, first month than being with somebody and hiding that because it can get really, really dirty. Um, as far as if you're trying to conceive and you're HIV positive or your partner may be positive, I definitely recommend a specialist. I had a specialist in 2012, 2013 before I aged out of my parents' insurance that educated me about being undetectable before PrEP and U equals U was a thing. U equals U is pretty much if you're undetectable, you're untransmittable, which means if um, I am undetectable and my partner is negative, meaning don't have HIV, that they would not contract HIV because there's such a small milliliter of, excuse me, that's such a small amount of HIV in each milliliter of blood. So you definitely want to make sure that you stay on top of your numbers, which your lab, your blood work, to make sure that you are protecting your partner, that you are living a healthy life. And there's also ways to prevent HIV, which is PEP and PrEP. PEP is 3 letters, of course, PrEP is 4 letters. What PrEP is post exposure prophylaxis. So let's say if you hook up with a guy or a female and they text you, call you, email you, whatever the case may be, and they say, I didn't know how to tell you, but I am HIV positive and the condom did break, or I was pre-coming or whatever before intercourse, you definitely want to make sure that you go into a primary care doctor and ask about PEP. PEP you have to take within 72 hours of you being exposed to HIV. PrEP, you want to do blood work as well. PrEP is 4 letters, PrEP. So how I look at PEP and PrEP, so you won't confuse the two. PEP is 3 letters, meaning short term. PrEP is 4 letters, meaning long term. So you definitely want to go into facilities to see if you can take PrEP. PrEP is a pill that you take once a day to prevent HIV. So let's say you have a partner or several partners that you met out and about or online. You don't want to have the conversation about asking their status or telling your status. They definitely can get on PrEP, or you can get on PrEP to protect yourself, to just live a healthier life. So PrEP also does not mean a pass to have unprotected sex or condomless sex. It's definitely recommended that you still use a condom, but you have a second barrier of protection. Uh, Again, if you are positive, there's always ways to be healthy. There's always ways to get medication. They have assistance programs, but that will be on a different show as far as patient assistance programs through the pharmaceutical company, or having the state assist you, or organizations to assist you with or without insurance. Again, as far as your status, you don't blame anybody else for you becoming positive. Just stay motivated. Know that you have HIV and HIV does not have you. One other main thing that gave me the extra push to start my channel was one of my cousins said that my uncle was in a conversation with my family when I wasn't around, and said that D'Angelo got that shit, meaning HIV. And no, I've never felt like HIV made me who I was. It was just a diagnosis, and I always lived above and beyond that. I always was healthy and kept a job, kept my own place, tried to keep transportation. I've always been on top of my business. So that's the last thing that anybody should worry about as far as looking at me as a husband, father, or person. My HIV status is not a thing, because clearly I've made it 10 years without any support from my family or anybody I was in a relationship with, because I've been strong enough to press on. So another thing that does happen, unfortunately, that people do disown their children. People do get in gay families. And for people who don't know, gay family, a gay family, a gay mother or father is someone that takes someone in the LGBT community where they may have been disowned in their family because of the lifestyle, or because they status. A lot of people may be into Christianity and they don't want that around their younger children, or just they felt that they made a mistake in raising their child, or that they tried to give their child the tools to live whatever, I don't know, fantasy that they had for their child to live. But it's not up to your parents to decide for you. To no matter what they may feel, be you, date who you want to date, love who you want to love, because you only have one life. But never get into a situation to where you're afraid to be yourself or to take care of yourself like I did. 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I had to move back home, and I was afraid of somebody finding my medication, or knowing about my status, so I stopped taking medication. And that was about a year and a half. So resistance is real, and you only have 3 or 4 classes of medication, or so many medications that you can take before you don't have access to any, or you can't take any. So you definitely want to make sure that you are on top of your medication, so you don't build a resistance. And me building resistance to my status, it will also cause other issues, but I don't feel like sharing what my issue was at the time. But that's definitely a thing. So make sure that you're taking your medication every day, around the same time. And I said around the same time, maybe an hour or two. Let's say you have 8 a.m. If you take it at 7 a.m., 9 or 10, you're still good. If you found out taking medication in the morning don't work for you, you can always switch into night. Let's say if you missed a day, you're good. Life do happen. You may not have access to your home or your car, or it could be in the shop, and your medication is in there, which is not recommended in extreme temperatures. But let's say if you have to stay over someone's house, like I said, life happened. You skip a day, the medication is still in your blood, so you're fine. But you don't want to go weeks and months without taking your medication. Um, and outside of that, I just want to encourage everybody to follow their dreams, no matter how hard it get. And it's all in your head. We are all of our own worst critic. I know we always hear that, but you are your worst critic, and you're not alone. Whether it be business or health difficulties, just know somebody is always standing with you. And if you feel like you have nobody, you can always reach out to me, whether it be email, Instagram, or phone number. I'm available by call and text. Um, Another thing, whenever you have a goal for yourself, timelines are our enemies. Don't rush yourself and don't be too hard on yourself, because you have to give yourself credit. You woke up, so you definitely have something to do. You have a calling on your life, and that's cliche as well. But just know that you're here for a reason. Many people didn't wake up, and a lot of people need you to step up and tell your story and just be strong and be bold. And there's no timeline on that. It can take as long or as short. Clearly, it has taken me 10 years to do this. So definitely be patient with yourself. And me personally, having timelines have held me back, because I knew it was a calling on my life years ago, and I fought with it. So getting into this community or in this field of work, it definitely motivated me. So don't fight your story. It definitely will save somebody's life, because you are able to reach people I may not be able to reach. Everybody may vibe with people differently. So I do just ask you to be bold and stand out and be strong and get through this. Know that somebody is always going to be by your side, even when you feel alone. And give yourself credit for trying to do whatever it is that you're doing. Set that doctor's appointment. Make time for your health. I understand life may happen. You may work. You may have children. But what good is that job or your children if you're not here and healthy? You definitely want to make sure that you are here and healthy. Remain present and be cautious of where you're at. You will fail many times within your goals in that business, but you want to fail until you get it right. You may be in a relationship and things take a toll on you, and you need to let that relationship go. You don't want anything hindering your health, and it's easy to not be bothered by the smallest things. For example, I have high blood pressure, and I have made a conscious decision in 2019 to remain happy, to not let anything negative get in my way. So your blood pressure, anything could trigger it. It could be food. So I worked on my diet. I have do intermediate fast, where I may drink just water. I may not eat any pork, in hopes that I will be able to completely take meat out of my diet. I just can't stop eating chicken. I don't know why. I always go back to chicken. I cannot eat meat for days and weeks or months at a time, but I just gotta have chicken. And I've also done seafood, so I may lean towards being a pescatarian. But I say all of that to just say, be motivated, give yourself credit for at least trying and being here, be present, do the research that you need, and life is what you make it. Just be motivated, and I'm always here. You can give me a call or a text at 713-331-5432. The information is available down below or on the next page of the video, and my contact information will be available. Or if you want to be on the live channel where we have a Q&A session, which will be next week. I was supposed to have a live Q&A session after this first show or episode, but I do photography and I'm completely booked for the day, so I do apologize. I'm not able to go live today and speak with the community. So there will be next week, next Saturday morning, and details will be posted on the Instagram. Outside of that, I do thank you guys for watching. Just be bold, be motivated. And if you guys have anything that you guys want me to discuss, feel free to just reach out to me. I'm open minded, and I hope to pretty much have you on the show with me as well. But stay in communication with me, and you guys have a great weekend. I look forward to speaking with you guys and talking to you guys live on next week. Thank you.